Hello and welcome to Experiment Lab, the daily show with JK. I'm JK, your host, and I'm joined by Amar. Amar, happy holidays are over, and this is going to be a fun week, the last week of the year, and we made it. How are you today? Are you
Yeah,
back?
yeah. Hi, JK. Good morning and Merry Christmas. Yes, I have back to my workplace, and yeah, I think still holidays going on. Today is the last day of holiday, and I think from tomorrow we will continue our work again.
Yeah, let's hope that Walter joins again. If not, that's fine, right? We can play the intro again and redo that. But that's not the case here with regard to even all the other people, right? So they are still on the holiday mode, as you said,
Correct. Yeah.
since it falls on the Sunday,
Mhm.
everybody get to have a holiday on Monday as well. So today as well, like everybody is enjoying their happy holidays. And as you mentioned, right? So I hate to say that, like people always say that, like Merry Christmas, even though you are not celebrating that, and what is there like to celebrate. And we talked about it extensively on our talk show yesterday. It was a good one. I hope
Mhm.
some of our people would have watched it. Those who are subscribed to Stop Now channel might have seen that. If not,
Exactly.
we can refer that video link and also share those information. But before we jump into it, right? So the last week, again, we have been talking about it over and over that the recruitment industry doesn't do much work in the month of December. It's kind of not just the holiday freeze, but then it is kind of how the business is modeled. They don't hire during the November and December. They slow down practically. If at all, they do the screening, select the candidate, and ask them to join from the new year. So from the next week onwards, we might see like a good number of activity coming up. Uh, and I would like to hear from you the profiles that you have been working on with. And I see like you practically stopped doing from Amar and just focusing on Nate alone. So can you update what status are we in terms of Nate profile?
Yeah, last month, in November, I was getting emails in my that profile that is amar.msub. This month I'm not getting more than 2-3 emails in December. But for Net, as this profile is made for as a US citizen for the experiment, we made it. Uh, Also, this is today's holiday. I got one email. I don't know he's spending his holiday or not, but I got one as Scrum Master position for uh, I got only one. And I think from January for all of the profiles, we will get good numbers of emails from the recruiter. And let's see what happens. Let's welcome Walter.
Oh,
Hi, Walter. So I thought like everybody is on holiday mode even today. So same with you. How are you?
uh,
What's going on?
yeah, kind of in a holiday mode, but I am here, and yeah, I think I'm not sick, so that's a thing that's new for the first time in like a month and a half. So that's good.
Yeah, that's good to know. But it looks like the entire East Coast and all that has been frozen, and people do.
Yeah, it's very cold here, so I'm not going outside.
Yeah. Those who are traveling as well, they are caught up in that, and it's a whole lot of drama apart from what we are doing here. So we were just starting the show and talking about like how we are frozen in this recruitment industry, or whatever experiment we are trying to do, that also gets impacted because no emails and no calls. So it's kind of expected. We didn't got surprised on this, so we know that like this is what is going to happen. But still, we just want to run through it and see like what update do we get on this, and given basically update to our audience saying that like this is what will happen if you are in the industry looking for jobs. Don't expect anything to magically happen or turn over in your side. So probably from the next week we might have a busy calls and also interviews, hopefully.
Yeah, from the 24th to the 1st in the United States is pretty much all feels like most people who can take it off.
Yes, so it's kind of a shutdown. Right? That was the thing, like the funny thing, like we haven't covered on a talk show, which was funny, like we published it on the Christmas day, and talking about the religion and all those things, right? People still, right, I still don't get it. I don't think like that is relevant in our experiment show, but still, even though you don't celebrate, everybody says like Merry Christmas. And how am I supposed to? Like, I hate Christmas, I hate Christianity or religion. What do you want me to say to you? So that is the situation in which we are right now. Like, we just have to be polite and say like, okay, thank you, Merry Christmas to you as well. Move on.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, people don't really celebrate the religious aspects of Christmas. It's rarely even talked about unless you're deep, deep, deep into religion. So, and even then, there's a dispute if because it's supposed to be a celebration of Jesus's birthday, and there's a dispute, was he actually born in the fall from the text and not at the end of the year? So, I mean, I think people now just celebrate it to celebrate the spirit of being with people you care about rather than the religious aspects. Even people I know who are religious don't really even talk about that aspect of it.
All right. Yeah. Let's move on. That being said, like I missed the opportunity to talk to one of our expert attorneys on the immigration side of it. And probably I think we have to redo that, or maybe we can plan what will be the right thing. Uh, Either we are canceling it or he is canceling it. Like, that's not good way for us like to reach back again. So that is all I had today. But anything other than from your side, like, because this is going to be the third week, and from your experience, what do you think? Like, how do you see in the next 3 months?
Oh, I mean, I have no idea about 3 months from now, but I mean, the thing that just sticks out the most is just the inefficient, I guess, direction recruiters get because it's alarmingly bad. I know I've said that before, but I mean that's the one thing. Hopefully, in 3 months, I'll be at least 2 months into a project and be doing that. So, or finding another one, finding another project. But hopefully, I'll be in a project by that time doing uh, stuff, whatever that stuff is, Scrum Master, Project Manager, whatever I'll be doing. Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the least frustrating part about the whole process. The recruiters are like pulling your own teeth out and just dealing with how the whole process is not that they honestly could take the phones away and be better off because they wouldn't be nagging people. And I think that's going to be a thing that probably loses them U.S. citizens from communicating with them because the stuff that they do is just you have to assume someone has a job or someone is busy during the day when they tell you to do something at a certain time and you do it not just once but you do it like 5 times in 15 minutes. Yeah, you're going to annoy the ever living Christ out of them, speaking of religion. So so it's an interesting process, and I don't know why they do it the way they do it, but that's how they do it.
Uh, yes, to your point on that, I'm not sure like even they will change it, right? So that is the pattern I see that like even most of the US citizen or anyone with green card, they don't go with these recruiting companies because they are so pissed off and annoyed with this recruiter mainly like doing these kind of things, and they want like to try it on their own as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I mean, yeah, they're probably an asset and they can probably get you placed a lot easier, but it's just I don't know why they just don't listen. I don't know why they feel the need that they have to literally call you for something that it'll be quicker through an email where you can actually see, and they often ask for personal information when they're talking to you through email. It's like I don't, or talking to you through the phone. It's like I don't really don't want to give that over the phone quickly either. I want to see it written down, so at least if it's stolen, I know exactly who stole it, it can be traced. So it's I don't know. It's a very just odd way of doing business and convincing people that you're legitimate. So I mean, I'm the way it's set up. It's like the people they're mostly they're going to work with are going to be the most desperate because I don't know. Let's keep going back to the recruiter who asked me for my full social security number through Gmail. I was like, who's going to give you that? Like, I don't know who's going to give you like that. And why are you so insistent of asking 4 or 5 times and be like, this is the only way to get a job? I was like, that's absolutely positively not true. And you're setting off every single red flag in the world by even asking that question, much less being persistent about it. So it's I don't know. I don't know why they do it, but it's not a well thought process to or they wouldn't do it that way because there's just so much easier ways to do it.
Yeah, again, well, that is one thing like I wanted to check with the attorneys and also what the law states in terms of these things, right? How do we stop these things? And they just triggered so many red flags, but still nobody bothered to take action on these things, right? So my point is like, even some people, as I mentioned before, some people are willing to share those things, right? What is the big deal? You can't do anything out of it. Have it. I'm ready to share it. But the challenge is, are they really able to exploit it using that? That is one thing like I wanted to understand.
If they, I mean, if you give them enough information, they can definitely find out who. Well, you're telling them who you are, and then you're giving them a lot of personal information. So, I mean, they could, in theory, steal your identity with that, or give it to someone who could steal your identity. So it is a lot of information they ask for in certain cases, and I've yet to ask when they get really pushy about stuff and like, can you give me a letter from the client saying they're asking for this? No one's done that, so I don't know if the letter doesn't exist or what that case is. But that's one of the things I would like to find out, even when I'm placed, just to keep a resume out there, just to so I can see if anyone actually will produce a letter with like a letterhead stamp from like a gigantic company. I won't say a name, but to see if it actually says that they're asking for this information from a third party, because that would be very damning. Because it's like you're asking for this information and you know you shouldn't be. I don't know if it's I mean, I don't think it's illegal to ask questions like that. They're not discriminatory, but it's not proper.
Uh, yeah, so not everything can be in written, right? So the oral instruction, I think some witnesses can also be uh, oral, right? So they don't want like to give it in writing, but then they get instruction based on that, like they have been doing this job, and that's how I see this, right? So even as Amar was mentioning before, while we starting the conversation, uh, even on a holiday, like just one guy like who has the interest to work on a holiday, it seems this is the only email we got so far. I just wanted to share that. And anyhow, like they are bound by their employment contracts, right? So they have been instructed to do this, that's why like they are doing it, and we cannot even legally do anything about it on these individuals, right? And it is always the corporates which is hiding behind these things. And what more can we say about it? Like we can't do anything. We all know this, like this is the fact, and we have to live with this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of. I guess that's a good question. I go, what are ways that I guess people can try to go through the process without going through a third party? I mean, it seems to be like that would be a far more difficult task, but how do people kind of go around these recruiters because they seem to be um, plentiful?
Yes, it's kind of the volume is so much, right? So they are kind of pawns, but they are in huge numbers, and the number games plays out in favor of those who are uh, going through that process, because otherwise it's not that easier. We have tried it, like I myself have tried it, and it's not that easy for anyone to get into any other industry unless you have a clear advantage in some sort of references or someone like to help you out to get into it, and you have the years of experience in that. You cannot break through it. Like even if I am a project manager, I lose a job, it's not that easy for me to get another job by applying through professional networks or LinkedIn, or asking referrals to refer me. Like the first question will be like, why did you get fired from the previous one, right? Even if you say like it's a layoff, right? So it is not related to your performance, or if the business has shut down. So many factors are there. Like still always, when you look for a new job on your own, there will be a lot of questions. And why do you like here? They are not questioning you anything about it. All they want is like, we have a job, come and grab it. So that kind of uh, middleman is kind of protecting you to get your job as soon as possible, but then you have to pay a price for that.
Yeah, dealing with them. But yeah, I mean, that's the biggest price so far is dealing with them. Um, I mean, yeah, yeah, they definitely try to get you prepared for the next step as quickly as possible, but it's just the way they do it. This is, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think I've gone through nearly 160 different email threads, and most of those have like at least 5 or 6 emails in them, and that's only been in like 9 days, and that's 160 different jobs, and they all follow the same exact pattern almost to a T. Like I can almost predict now what they're going to ask. It's like, just send me over what you need. You really don't need to call. Like I know what you want. Like just tell me that you want it, and I'll get it to you. And sometimes they don't want to listen, and we get on the phone with them and I'm like, you're about to ask for this. I'm like, yes, I am. Like, you can tell. I kind of been through this a lot in the past days, and none of you have a unique process of doing it. So it's, um, I don't know. I just think if U.S. citizens going through that many times and we get that much interaction back, they're just going to probably quit and try to go through a traditional route. It's my prediction. because it's so abrasive compared to the way everything else is in the job market, because it's pretty much sit and wait. Um, otherwise, but then they're like in your face, and they're not even the people that are hiring you, so that's a bit different.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Again, Walter, Amar, you can also chime in here. Like what I wanted to address here is like it's easy for the US citizens or even for the green card holders like to move away from this process, right? If you get pissed off, like I don't want like to do this anymore, man, I'll try it on my own, and this is not for me. You can choose to do something else. But whereas like if it is a visa holder, they are tied to their employer, they have no other option. You pretty much like stuck
Right.
with this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We clearly have the evidence that if you say any profile as a H1B candidate, they don't engage with you directly on rate confirmation, and everything goes through your employer. So you
Right.
are kind of in a way enslaved into the system, and you have to do this. If you protest, like you cannot walk out, right? Only thing is like you have to find another employer who can sponsor you, then you can have that conversation of even doing anything about it. So that is why victims
Yeah.
cannot come out in this system.
Mhm. And from my experience, I can share that as I am looking every day that so many recruitment company is increasing day by day is increasing. So my question is, so they are not sitting in USA, they are using US number and talking with the candidate, and even they are not living in US. So they are outside of US and they are asking the candidate like US citizen or green card holder, they are asking their personal details to provide, like DL copy, visa copy, or passport number, even I mean date of birth, everything they are asking to provide. So why they ask the candidate to provide those documents before they are processing or submitting their application for the company or client? So do they have rights to ask those questions? I think for like TCS, Cognizant, they can ask. But why the recruitment company who are increasing day by day, they are asking those personal question to the candidate?
Again, Walter, before you jump in, like share your thoughts on that. See, I don't find anything wrong in even asking those questions, right? For example, any employment, if they are giving you an employment, they have the right to validate. That's how like I see it, right? So for example, it's like for us, like it's a non-profit, we may not collect much information on a volunteer basis, we can think of. But as a business owner, if I think like I have to screen candidates, process their information, those are basic information, right? So knowing that, again, everybody has a driver's license, right? So in that, like almost you have all your information. So when you provide that, what, because we have legal protections. If somebody is misusing your information, definitely you can track them and you can sue them. That's an option, right? That's how the system is framed. Because you cannot say that like, oh, I will not show any other information, but I need to get a job. How is that like even uh, remotely possible? As a business owner, I don't want like to hire someone like about whom I don't know anything. All right. So that's my struggle. So what you have to say about that, right? So this is not something like one way. We are not going to side with like, okay, always the victim is right. So the victims also have to be blamed on certain things. So that's why like I'm bringing this like as a devil's advocate, like I'm playing it out, right? Even if we are taking it to the court and we are trying to sue them, so the other party has to be given an opportunity to defend themselves, right? What do you have to say on this?
I don't even know recruiters inside of companies that I've spoken to that'll ask for documentation of things. That usually gets to the part where after the interview process, and then they ask for all that stuff, and that's always done in a very secure type setup through a different agency. They're doing all this through Gmail. So I mean, I don't think there's anything illegal about asking. I mean, I guess if you're hounding a H-1B visa holder about where they're from, where was their address from where they're from, and all that stuff, it can get into a discriminatory category. But that would be a lawyer would have to touch on that specifically. But I mean, it's still, I wouldn't, if they're going to ask those questions for a recruiter, they need to have a third party set up where it's a third party for the third party, where it's actually a legit secure place where you put all that in, like it's like the process typically works, or just don't ask all that information. Because I mean, I'm guessing you could steal someone's identity also by getting their H-1B visa stuff. If you really wanted to, you could really mess with them as well. You would have all that information. So it's like the lack of security and asking all these questions through Gmail is the part that I think that they should really think about changing.
Yeah, that is where the struggle is, right? So even for the H-1B candidates, right, they will ask all the information and even verify that to apply for them, right? Because sponsorship is a big task. As I mentioned, right, if I am going to sponsor somebody else, I need to know everything. Like I'm investing around $5,000 to $10,000. So to sponsor them, like I need to know everything, and that is the problem here, right? So when people have to trust them and give all the information, and then when you apply for it, on top of it, like they are even having some guarantee that like the person will work for them, like I sponsor them, and what if like the person doesn't want to like to work for me, and he said like I quit, I lose the money, right? That is where like the people are even asking the candidate to pay the money to sponsor. So this is a ridiculous system. Again, we just don't have more information on this, like to talk more on how we can address these issues. But anyway, like let's focus on what we are tasked with, and probably we can sorry, did I lose the connection?
Oh yeah, you did. Mid sentence, you went silent.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was saying that like let's wrap it up and continue this for this whole week. Like we are just going to talk because nothing more to do on this. And with that, any final thoughts before we end the show?
Oh, I think that's everything for me.
Amar?
We can wrap up this session for today. We will continue tomorrow.
All right then. So thank you, Walter. Thank you, Amar. And please subscribe to our channel and watch out for the member only exclusive content coming soon. Bye for now.
Yeah.